about that. Tell me about your company and well, first of all, welcome to Aging but Dangerous.
Thanks
And
for having us.
yeah, and I'm just so excited. We're so excited to have young women like you on. Um, so tell me about the title, Rumblings. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Karen and I turned 50 around the same time. And we always thought when we turned 50 that was going to be this transition point in our life where we felt like everything was going to be great. And what we found is we weren't feeling that way. We were feeling too old and undervalued at work, at home. We were still raising kids. We were sending kids off to college and helping parents, and we were feeling like it was a really challenging time. So we started talking to other women that were in this midlife period, and we were finding that other women were feeling the same way, unseen, undervalued, and we all had this rumbling inside of us
Oh,
that life should be different, and
yeah.
that's where rumblings comes from.
Oh
'Cause
my
it's the same thing
gosh.
about like what is coming next for us.
Yeah.
Realizing that there has to be more
Right,
than
right.
than what is currently going on in our lives today.
That is just, I love that. That's a wonderful, wonderful word for what you're talking about. Now, how old are each one of you?
I just turned 55 in July.
Okay.
And I just turned 58 in August.
Okay. Well, you know what they're saying now? They're saying the 50-year-old 50 is the new 35.
That's
We
right.
love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love that.
And it's so funny because I'm 80, getting ready to turn 83. And I'm like, I call all my followers, the 50 and 60-year-olds, the young ones, and they said, Jean, that's so funny that you would call us the young ones. And I said, well, you are, compared to me. I mean, you're like my daughters. They're like, and I love that feeling. But okay, so tell us about your website is very, very interesting. Well, first of all, I want to talk about you two. I'll just say a little bit. Karen, you're an exercise physiologist with a BS in consumer health and fitness.
Mhm.
And you have a black belt
I do.
in Taekwondo. I mean, what in the world does that mean? I mean, that's like huge, isn't it?
Well, I kind of have a history of doing things and going places where traditionally you didn't see women, and that at least at that time, and that was one of the things that I did. I was the only girl or young woman in my
Wow.
class and taking these lessons. So it was just a lot of fun, and I've always had an interest in fitness and exercise. So that's kind of how that came about.
So this means that you can always protect yourself.
I hope so. Yes.
The rest of us.
Yeah, and the rest of us. Yeah, yeah. If somebody attacks you, be careful. Okay. Well,
That's right.
I was very, totally impressed with that. And then Rebecca, you have a world of things, a BS in nutrition and dietetics, and a BS in exercise science. And what's MPH? What does that mean?
A master's in public health.
Oh, a master's in public health. Okay. Wow, you guys, you have it all. That is just, I just kind of got chills reading, just looking at that. So you came together and you decided to do this. And I know you have programs going. Tell our followers what exactly it is, that you're doing. It's pretty exciting, I'll tell you. So
well,
tell us about some of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I think, one of the interesting things about Rebecca and I is that we actually first started working together almost 2.5 decades,
Yes.
maybe a little bit more, almost 3 decades ago, when we were both young in our career and just starting out having our kids.
Oh my
and we
gosh.
were working, I know
That's
we were
wonderful.
working.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Friends for a really long time. No, and I think, we've always been focused on health and wellness. And then I think as things changed and we each went off in our different careers, but kept in touch and kept having conversations, we just realized that as women are aging, like we just talked about, and starting to have this rumbling, one of the biggest things about it is, what is it that we need to do to be healthy, and flourish after 50? And so that's really how we started thinking about getting back to some of the work that we did when we were newer in our careers, but doing
Right.
it for a really specific audience, which is other women like us.
Yeah.
So we have started putting together events, courses for online memberships, and teaching women how to strength train and be fit and eat healthy.
That, okay, I saw that. And then I also read where something about the 4 rocks to flourish. What is that about? I couldn't, can you explain
Yeah,
that?
over the years, as we've worked with hundreds of women, we kind of realize what are the things that are getting in our way of feeling well
Mhm.
and living well as we're getting older. And the first thing we find is a lot of us are stuck in comparing ourselves to our younger selves. We're comparing ourselves to other, instead of really getting in that growth mindset and feeling like 55 is the new 35.
Yeah.
And we want to live differently than we saw maybe our parents live or our grandparents live as we get older. We want to live well. And
Mhm.
so part of that is also living inside out. We've got to stop the comparison, and we've got to feel good in our body. For our expertise, really looking at how are we eating, how physically active are we, how are we sleeping, how can we make lifestyle choices that improve our health span.
Mhm.
And then the third thing is really social connection. It's
Right.
important, and we know social connection is important to health, and especially over the last few years and what we've been through as a country, we've lost a lot of that social connection. And we want to bring women back together because we feel, and we've heard from other women, they want to be connected to other midlife women that are going through
Right.
similar things. So
Right.
that's especially important. And then the fourth one we feel really strongly about is that it's about advocating for other women too, in all generations, not just midlife women. We want to advocate for ourselves, but we want to actually help the younger women not have the same struggles and challenges that we've had in midlife. And we want to learn from our peers like yourself, who we admire for what you've been doing for so long.
Yeah. And I think even just having those conversations, right? These are the types of conversations that Rebecca and I didn't have with our
Mhm.
mothers
Yeah.
as they were aging, because it's just not something that you ever really talked about.
Right.
And I think just because of some of the social norms that have changed, and women being in the workforce for a longer period of time, it's a natural evolution to begin to have some of those
Mhm.
things. And really, how can we think about advocating, coming together and advocating for all women, so
Well,
that they
and
can realize that they're not alone in these challenges.
exactly. And I have to tell you, I'm the first one that says, "Hey, kids, my generation started it." It's like
That
that
it's
80-year-old
true.
generation into the late 70s. I mean, we were real trailblazers, I think.
You
Uh,
were.
Yeah,
Starting our own
absolutely.
business, knowing that we could have I always had my own business, but knowing we could have our own business and have our family too. I always say, thank God I only had one child, because I don't know what I would have done with 2 of them. But
I feel the same way. Rebecca has 4. I only have 1, and I feel the exact same way as you. I don't know how I would have worked all those years and
I
done.
know. I used to go to the grocery store, and I'd see women with 2 of them or 3, and I'd have mine, and she was hyper, and I'm like, oh my Lord, how does that woman do it with 2 kids? I mean, it's like, we have lots of admiration for you.
Yes.
But yes, I just was telling somebody that the other day, and it's so funny, but we do need women yet like you guys. We need the young women to really step up and get this whole idea out there, because and I hope you don't get offended with what I have to say, but I think your generation, my daughter's generation, in a way, kind of dropped the ball a little bit. because they, when she graduated from college, look how long ago that was. I took her out for lunch and I said, Michelle, you have got to, of course, Gloria Steinem was my, when I was there, she was my idol and started the whole thing. But I said, Michelle, you got to keep fighting for women's rights. You got to fight for, equal pay. You got to do all that. And look, that's when she was 22. Now she's 54. I mean, I'm getting off track, but I love it. I love seeing you young women, any woman really, but the young 50 and 60-year-olds that are out there really trying to, get women going again and getting them. And of course, I do know one thing, you all are raising very strong daughters. I know that. I have 2 granddaughters who are my daughter is raised very strong daughters. But I love hearing this from you all. And, so you started, what is your mission? I want you to tell me your mission.
Our mission is to help women, midlife women, live well and flourish.
Okay.
And we're doing that through education. So the programs that we mentioned, because that's our background, is the health and wellness space. Mm-hmm. But we've been doing a lot around reigniting yourself. So a lot of women are making transitions, and we want to lift up those women and really highlight those women. So we've had panels and brought in physicians and kind of sharing those stories of women who it is not too late.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, that is exactly my motto.
Yes.
Yes. And this is what I try to tell young women. It is never too late.
Yes.
Never. And my dad lived to be 105. He skydived with me when he was 91. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this is what I try to tell them. And at my age, I mean, and young women will write me and say, well, I hope I look as good as you do when I'm 83. And I'm like, you're going to look better because there's going to be more, better vitamins out there. There's going to be better skincare. There's going to be better everything. I mean, I didn't have that. So yes, I am so glad you said that, because that's exactly the way I feel. And that's what women have to learn, you all, is that it's never too late.
No,
it's never too late. It's always the right time to be thinking about what is the next thing that you want to accomplish. What is it that you want to do to reinvent yourself? How do you want to reignite the life so that you can flourish at any age, regardless of your age, and that you're healthy enough to be able to do the things that you want to be able to do in your community, with other generations of women. And it really goes back to that 4 rock principle that we have of living inside out.
Yeah, that I really like that. That is very, that really, that kind of gets me. That's very good. How do people, now I think you have a course coming up, don't you?
We do. Our course launches on October 2nd. It's a 6-session course, meets 3 times in October, 4 times in October, 2 times in November. Sorry about that. Yeah. And we're really excited. We're partnering with Modern Well, which is a co-working space here for women. And they're letting us use their space. So you can go to our website at rumblingsmedia.com/programs, and you can find all the details about what the course will entail. But we are so excited to be working with midlife women in this way.
Yeah, and then we are planning on launching another online course so that regardless of where people live, they can participate, and we'll do that starting in early January. So there's a place where you can sign up and get more information, and we have a lot of educational opportunities coming up.
And that's so important. We could all sit here and just I know I could just sit and talk to you all for hours, and we could, throw out all this stuff, but it's just so much about education. We have to educate women, and I mean, all of us, no matter what the age. And I love the whole education part. Yeah, I'm very familiar. This is in Minneapolis.
Yes.
It's a beautiful place. are you limited on how many people you take in this course? That can take the course there?
Yeah.
Do you have a number on?
We don't have a number, but we
Okay.
believe the capacity would be somewhere around 130 to 140
Okay.
people. So
Mhm.
we do have
Okay.
quite a bit of space for people. And like we said, we will be posting some of the questions and different things like that on our social media platforms for people who aren't able to join us in person this time. And then we'll have an online session as well that is coming up. And then certainly, because Rebecca and I have such a strong science background,
Yeah.
part of what we do is we take all of the science information and we distill it in a format in a way that is easy for people to understand so that they can make simple changes that can have a huge impact. So that's a big part of what we'll be doing in this course, and also what we do in blog posts and newsletters that we have as well that people can sign up for.
Well, I signed up.
Oh, good.
Fabulous. We're thrilled to have you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Because I'm one of these people that, I mean, it's just, age is just like nothing, doesn't mean a thing to me. And so I was very just infatuated with what your website and the things that were going on. But I'm the events, you've got you're going to have online things. I think that's so important
Mhm.
because, as we know, not everybody lives in Minneapolis.
That's right.
true.
But you're going to have that, which I think is very important. So if people sign up for your website, they will be able to know all of those things.
Absolutely. And then if there are topics that folks are interested in, we're really engaged with our audience. So make sure to send us a note too, because we really do survey our audience and modify some of the topics and the content of the things that we are building and writing about, so that we can bring all the latest science information to our
Yeah, I love that, that, like, of course, somebody said to me on an interview once, is there anything that you regret? And I thought, I'd never been asked that question. And I thought immediately what came to my mind was, yeah, I regretted wasting way too much time on worrying about my weight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
saw that you have that, well, of course you have it's Rebecca, right? That has yeah,
Yes.
you have that. I think that's so important. I think when you get a lot older, you don't worry about it as much. You get into that maybe 70 and 80. I don't know. I shouldn't even say that because I've gained some weight now. And you know what? I don't even care. I haven't been on the scale for 4 months and I don't even know, but I just know the clothes are a little tighter.
Yes.
And we do, like Karen said, we survey people, and it is one of the number one challenges that people are pointing out to us, that their bodies are changing
Yes.
as they're getting older. And we really want to help women reset their mindset around that, because I don't know, we're done with diets.
I know.
Don't work. They've been around. We've seen every macronutrient cycle through of what's hot and what's not. And we're
I
ready
know.
to start enjoying our lives and connecting with people over food and culture and enjoying it and making healthy choices and feeling really good about that, no matter what our size, weight.
Right.
And if we choose to have something, like, enjoy it without guilt, and really put away, like Rebecca mentioned earlier, put away the notion that we have to compare ourselves to our former selves or other women who
I know.
might be younger or even the same age as we are.
And the one statement that I just get so upset about when women say is, I'm heavier now than when I was pregnant. And I'm like, well, now wait a minute. When you were pregnant, you were probably 30 years younger, or whatever. I mean, it's like, I don't know. That whole thing is like, don't compare it to a pregnancy. I mean, that's a whole different fat thing, right? I mean, that's not, but I think that it's so important for women, like you say, and that's just one minor thing is the weight. But that seems to kind of, Well, that and the wrinkles, everybody gets very upset about the wrinkles, and
I think part of it is societal pressure that we're not supposed to age.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we feel like, oh, we'd see these wrinkles or our bodies are changing, but that's not what's supposed to be happening.
Right.
And guess what?
Well,
Aging is a process and our bodies are changing. And
yeah.
that's what we help people.
and it's natural. It's natural, right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to age. And instead, when they market to women our age and even younger, it's always about how can you stay thin? How can you be thinner? How can you be more fit? How can you stay ageless? How can you act and look and be younger than what you really are? So we are all about doing what works for you, wherever you might be at, but not feeling that we're tied to what the societal pressures and norms and marketers are telling us.
And
we are ideal.
I can tell that about you guys just talking to you. You're very sincere and you're very honest. And I think that, and you do have lots and lots of knowledge, and that is so great that you're breaking it down, for people, because they don't always, they can't always think like that. It's so great that you have the background to do that, because the rest of us can just sit and talk about it forever, but we don't really know what we're talking about. But I go back to what you were saying. I don't know which one of you were talking about a while ago, to put about the feelings. To me, it's always about the feelings. It's like like clothing. If somebody tries something on and they'll go, Gene, do you like that? I'm like, well, how do you feel in it? Well, it really feels good. And I'm like, and it looks great.
Because you'll have that confidence, kind of like, again, from the inside out, if you're feeling good about what you're wearing, comfortable in your own skin. And I think, the other thing too is that there's comfort in ways to be able to lift other women up to feel that way. And that again goes back to that kind of mindset. This is actually the start of the rest of our lives. It's the beginning rather than the end. So I think just changing our mindset and really thinking that the world is open in terms of what we want to do, how we can reinvent ourselves, how we can reignite ourselves. I mean, just look at the things that you're doing with your business and the things that you've been doing all these many years. That's a role model and an example, but that doesn't have to be the exception. That should be how we are all aiming and striving to live this kind of prime time of our lives.
Yes. And that's why I get so excited about the both of you and what you're doing, because there's been a little bit of a lapse there, that we need I'm saying we need some of the young women like you guys to just kind of step up there and kind of, explain it and talk about it and do what you're doing. I just think that is, I'm very, very excited to hear about what you're doing. I had somebody on not long ago that I interviewed that was 68, and she taught fitness and stuff. And I said, yeah, but look at you, you're all toned, and you've probably been working out ever since you were 5 years old. And she said, no, I just started working out at 55.
Yeah.
And I'm like, amazing? Yay. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's, and back to that, what you guys were saying and what I'm saying, it's just never too late.
Yeah.
Never too late.
I mean, some of the greatest achievements that in arts, in science, in journalism, literature, you name it, business, are from people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. So there still is a lot of things for us to accomplish. And now we want to be healthy so that we can flourish and get done the things that we still want to finish and do in life.
Yeah, and that's such a good mission. It is hard to talk. I think it's been hard to talk to women that are not that healthy. I happen to be very healthy and good energy and everything, but it's kind of hard, isn't it, to talk to women that are not as healthy?
Actually, you know,
Or can you do that? You've got the tools to do
absolutely.
that.
I think we
Okay.
have like a little bit different perspective on that. We know that some of the greatest health benefits come from just getting up off the couch and taking
Yep.
that first initial step. And
Yeah.
again, that goes back to, it's really never too late. So even if you have never been someone who has been physically active, even if you've traditionally been someone who doesn't necessarily like to sweat, or you don't know where to start, it all starts with just getting up and doing any kind of movement, and maybe even just finding simple ways to add more steps into your day or to get a little bit of physical activity. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym 5 days a week. There's a lot of things that you can do where you can get social activity and enjoyment out of them at the same time, as well as the health benefits. So we think we actually enjoy sometimes working a little bit more with those folks that are thinking about starting something different and being healthier, but don't really know where to start or how to make those first steps in changing their behaviors, some of their patterns.
Yeah. And the same with the food, you know, the same aspect goes with the food. We're done with dieting.
Done.
Join us online, you know, our website, get some of our blog posts, because the conversation that we're having and the education we're providing is, let's reset our mindset. Let's get back to enjoying real food and the company around that, and not being so restrictive that we can't enjoy our lives.
Right.
I
and
know.
even with the fitness and the food, it's not necessarily so much about achieving some set goal, but it's really, how do we find enjoyment and joy in the movement and in the food that we're eating and in the companionship that we can have around those things. So learning to enjoy the journey itself and the process.
Yes, the journey. I love the journey, the word, the journey. I have a very good friend that's 74 that still will not let herself eat an ice cream bar or eat chocolate or anything because of the calories. I mean, drives me crazy. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand it, but you know, that's her journey. And you know, but yeah, there's just some people that are just so restrictive with themselves, and life is just a little bit more tense.
Yes. And that's the thing about this course too, is everyone's welcome. So even if you don't hear yourself in some of the things that we're saying, join us in the conversation, because it's really about, from class 1 to class 6, is developing your personal plan so that you can live well and flourish in midlife.
Right.
So we're not going to say, you know, Jean, this is what you have to do. No, you're going to go through the process with us, and you're going to design your own personal plan.
Yeah. And that is so exciting. And then women getting together like that and learning from each other.
Yes.
There's just not very many places you can go to get that.
And women are hungry to come together.
They are hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
And we're
are.
really finding that social connection is the biggest part of that. And so part of what we're trying to do is help women distill the science, lay the foundation, and do something that really will be for life, as opposed to, I'm going to do these things for this set period of time, and then I'm going to go back to the way that I was doing things because I've achieved some goal. This is really about, how can you customize your personal lifestyle that you can maintain and do for the rest of your life.
And 6 weeks is such a good, I mean, that's just a good number. You know, you have time to do something with that.
Yeah. And then people get another 6-week membership into our new fitness program. So, and that can be done virtually at any time, but they'll get strength exercises and nutrition tips, and that comes with the 6-week course, as they'll get that membership too.
And then people who don't have the opportunity to take this in-person course can still sign up for that fitness and exercise membership. And we'll have some nutrition tips in there as well, in
Mhm.
terms of eating. So anyone is from anywhere is able to participate in that part of the
Oh,
kind of
that's great.
course.
You guys should write a book.
Well, we have that on our plan
It's
too.
on-
Is that on the list?
It's on our
It
list.
is
Yep.
absolutely on the list. Yes.
Because
Started having some conversations with publishers, so we're excited
Yeah.
about the opportunity.
yeah, because the thing, I'll tell you the key points that I'm going away with. The two of you are so down to earth. The two of you are very, I just can feel the energy. I can feel the honesty. I can feel you're very authentic. And then the two of you have the knowledge that most people don't have. I mean, that hardcore education and knowing what you're talking about. And then three, just being able to break that down for people to understand, the normal person, woman, that, can understand what you're talking about. You're not talking above their level, or you're breaking it down so they can understand it. And those are just such key things. And I would say most women, and I'm not saying this just to flatter you, but I think most women with your education and your background would be more kind of up here than here. I mean, just because when you have that much education like you both have, it's kind of easy to get kind of carried away with that and talk to maybe sometimes the upper echelon instead of the norm.
Jean, we've been there.
Yeah.
And now we hit that point in our careers that we were looking
you?
for something different and
Okay.
getting back to our roots, and
Yeah.
really excited to be working again with midlife women and working
Yeah.
together.
And working together. Yeah.
Yeah, working together. That is so wonderful. You have that friendship. I had that friendship too with my good friend, and when we started Aging But Dangerous. So that's wonderful. Well, you guys, I just wish you the most of luck. And I know that you're gonna just run away with this because you're both just so personable and so real. And that's what it takes today. Takes that real woman. I think women now, as they get older, they're not gonna put up with somebody that's not real. Don't you
No.
agree?
Yes.
Completely. Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. You've been a tremendous role model, and thanks for doing what you do.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
It's made a path for Rebecca and I and others like us to follow. So we definitely are grateful to you as well.
Thank you. I never think I have, but thank you very much. It sure sounds good. And I hope I have made a tiny little dent.
Absolutely.
Oh, you have.
Yes.
But anyway, you guys are just so delightful. And thank you for being on here. I have so enjoyed you both. And everybody, all of our followers, go to rumblingsmedia.com. I think your website is really good and you have all kinds of information on there. So I want everybody to go there and look you all up. So
Thank you. They
We'll
can
have
find us on any of the social platforms as well too. So we're
yeah.
also on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. And you're on all of them?
Yes.
Okay. Instagram, all of them?
Yes.
Okay. And what, okay, so I'm not a real social media. I mean, I'm not, I just know Facebook, but so if they how do they find you if they go to Instagram?
Just
They
look
go
up
Rumblings?
Rumblings or Rumblings Media and they'll find us.
Okay, they'll find you anywhere. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, my darlings, have a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I am going to follow you, and I know real soon we're going to get to meet.
I would
hope
love
so.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
I
plan.
would
We
too.
can have martinis in person.
Yes.
Yeah, we can have martinis in person. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.